Hello friends, today we'll study lecture number 2, which is related to the fluid power basics, its advantages and limitations. So first we will study about what exactly the fluid power means. The fluid power includes hydraulics plus pneumatic devices. The word hydraulic came from the Greek word hydros, and the pneumatic word is derived from the Greek word pneumos. Okay, hydraulic system uses oil as a working medium, and pneumatic system uses compressed air as a pneumatic medium as a working medium. So coming to the some important properties which are required about the fluid, which you should know. These are basic concepts of fluid mechanics. First one is specific weight, which is nothing but the ratio of weight upon volume for a fluid. The unit is Newton per meter cube. Then specific gravity, which is nothing but the ratio of specific weight of a fluid to the specific weight of a water. Then third one is density, which is nothing but the ratio of mass per volume. The unit is kg per meter cube. Then bulk modulus, it is nothing but the measure of incompressibility of the fluid. So higher the bulk modulus, the stiffer is the fluid. Usually the fluid which is required in hydraulic system has a bulk modulus in the range of 1.72 into 10 raised to 6 kilopascal. Then viscosity, which is nothing but the measure of the fluid's resistance to the flow. So we have two types of viscosities. One is absolute and second one is kinematic. Usually we measure kinematic viscosity in the unit of Stokes, and then divide it with the density of the fluid and convert it into poise, the unit for absolute viscosity. We have seen the experiment of Redwood viscometer to measure the viscosity of the fluid. Then another one is viscosity index, which is nothing but the relative measure of oil's viscosity change with respect to the temperature change. That means how the fluid is viscosity of the fluid changes with the change in temperature. So let's study few numericals. First, this numerical is about the significance of specific gravity. So we know that let us consider the statement that air at a 20 degrees Celsius and atmospheric pressure has a density of 1.23 kg per meter cube. Find the specific gravity, and what is the ratio of specific gravity of water to the specific gravity of air at 20 degrees Celsius and atmospheric pressure, and what is the significance of this ratio. So let us consider that we have a density of air around 1.23 kg per meter cube, which is given to us. We know that the density of water is around 1000 kg per meter cube. So the specific gravity of the air will be given by the density of air upon the density of water. So that will give us that the specific gravity of air is 1.23 into 10 raised to minus 3. So what exactly this value will give us? So we know that the specific gravity of water is around 1. Specific gravity of air is around 1. Okay. So when we take a ratio of specific gravity of air to the specific gravity of water, so we'll have the ratio of 1 upon 2.3 into 10 raised to minus 3, which comes around 813. That means the water is 813 times heavier than air. So how we come to know that how much heavier the water is than air? So this is that calculation. Now take another application, that as an engineer, if you want to determine that how much mass of a hydraulic fluid which you did in the each shock absorber of a four-wheeler, okay, then how you will determine it. So in order to find out the mass of a lubricant, you should know what is the weight, okay, to find out the weight, you should know what is the volume of that particular fluid which you need to put in. So first we will determine the volume. Okay, so volume is determined since it's a cylinder, so the volume is pi d square h. And why it is divided by 4? This is divided by 4 because you need to this is pi d square divided by 4. This is the volume. Okay, so this is in each wheel, that is why it is divided by 4. Okay, so it is this will come as a volume. Okay, you multiply that volume with the help of specific weight, which is given as 2000 Newton per meter cube. We will get the weight of the fluid which is required, and if you divide it by gravitational constant, you will get the mass of a fluid which you need to put in. Okay, so this is a basic application of the principles which you just seen. Then coming to the function of hydraulic fluid. So the hydraulic fluid has basic 5 functions in the system. First is power transmission, second is lubrication, third one is sealing, fourth one is cooling, and fifth one is contamination removal. So these 5 are the basic functions of the hydraulic fluid. So which are the various properties required for an ideal hydraulic fluid? First is ideal viscosity is important, second good lubrication capacity, third demulsibility, that is nothing but the ability to separate out the water. Okay, fourth is good chemical and environmental stability, fifth one is incompressibility, sixth one is fire resistance, seventh one is low flammability, 8 low foam resistance, 9 low volatility, then 10th good heat dissipation, 11th low density, and 12th is system compatibility. Which are the hydraulic fluids which are used? First those are mainly 4 types of hydraulic fluids are used in fluid power system. First one is water glycol solution, which is nothing but the mixture of water and glycol, 40% water, 60% glycol. It has its own properties. Okay, then water in oil emulsion. So 40% water completely dispersed in the 60% special oil base. So it has a various temperature range around -30° to 80° Celsius. Then straight synthetics. These are type of a chemically formulated fluids which are generally fire resistant and used for specific applications where the high temperatures are there. So those are called as straight synthetics. Then fourth type is high water content fluid. That is those are also called as HWCFs. Okay, usually contain 90% of water and 10% of hydraulic fluid. Those are mixture, and those are mixed with the additives in order to perform, and it has a temperature range around 50° Celsius. So these are different types of hydraulic fluid which are used in hydraulic systems. Then how to choose a hydraulic system? Which are the factors which influence the selection of the hydraulic fluid? First is operating pressure of the system, second is operating temperature of the system, then material of the system, and compatibility of oil with that material, then speed of operation. Fifth one is availability of replacement fluid. That means the fluid which you are going to use in the system should have a replacement option. Sixth one is cost of transmission line, that how much it depends on the fluid, that how much length of transmission lines you need to use. Okay, then contamination possibilities. This is also a very important factor while choosing a fluid. Usually fluid power system require a very clean atmosphere. Okay, so contamination is the major issue in case of hydraulic systems. Then eighth one is environmental condition. That means it should be fire resistance. Okay, Then good lubricity is important. Okay, then we must consider about the safety of operator, and we must look out for the expected service life of the equipment. That all these 11 factors will actually decides that which kind of hydraulic fluid you should implement in the system. Then which are the requirement of a good hydraulic fluid? First, we all seen that the basic property which is required for a hydraulic fluid is incompressibility. Second one is sufficiently large lubricating property, satisfactory viscosity and viscosity index. Then high flash point. The hydraulic fluid which you should use, it should be non-toxic. There should be foam resistant in that fluid. That means it should not form a foam while working. Then compatibility with the seals and gasket. That means whatever the sealing material which you are going to use in the hydraulic system, the hydraulic fluid should not corrode that material, and it should be compatible with that. Then a pour point should be between -15 to 20 Fahrenheit. That means it should have a sufficiently low pour point, and the neutralization number, which is the measure of alkalinity or acidicity, it should be less than 0.1. Okay, that means this will decide the reactivity of the hydraulic fluid with the system. Okay, so it should have a low neutralization number. Then naturally the question comes to mind that if so many properties are required, and for a hydraulic fluid, good hydraulic fluid, so the one fluid which we have abundant in our vicinity is the water. So why can't we use water as a medium in the fluid power system? So there are some inherent problems which are related to the water. That first, water corrodes the system which are made up of steel. Then it encourages the growth of bacteria and algae. Also, it has a low boiling point, because of which it gets evaporated around 100 degrees Celsius. Also, it can be contaminated very easily. It has a poor lubricity and viscosity, which will cause leakage in the system. Okay, so that is why we choose the petroleum based mineral oil as a medium in the hydraulics. So this is very important question in the point of view of oral examination. Then there are some additives which are added to improve the property of hydraulic fluid. First is pour point depressant, then viscosity index improver, then defoaming agents are added, then corrosion inhibitors are added, oxidation inhibitors are added, then anti-water derivative, which are also called as EP derivatives, are added in the hydraulic fluid to avoid the formation of excess water in the system. So moisture formation and formation of excess water in the hydraulic fluid is something which is not desirable, because if the water or the moisture gets formed in the hydraulic fluid, that will lead to reduce the stiffness of the working medium, that is stiffness of that hydraulic fluid. That will reduce the response time of the system, that will make the system more sluggish. Okay, because of this reason, the formation of water is not at all desirable in case of hydraulic lines. That is why you can easily see that the hydraulic lines are quite tight and sealed. Okay, there should not be air leakage in the hydraulic line. That is only because of that. And by chance, if any air gets into the hydraulic lines, then there is extreme pressure derivatives, EP derivatives are there, that will reduce the formation, or that will reduce the formation of excess water in the hydraulic system. Okay, so also it should have a good load carrying capacity. So these are some additives which are added in the hydraulic fluid. So let us compare different systems like mechanical system, electrical system, pneumatic and hydraulic system. So this comparison table is very important. So as we first property, if you say the input energy, the mechanical, electrical, pneumatic and hydraulic, all systems are usually driven by IC engines or electric motor or turbines. Then the energy transfer element in mechanical system is gears, levers, shafts. In electrical system, these are electrical cables and magnetic field. In case of pneumatic, these are pipes and hoses. Then energy carrier, that is working fluid. In mechanical are rigid objects. Okay. In electrical system, there is a flow of electron which we call as electricity. In case of pneumatic system, air is a working medium. For hydraulic system, hydraulic fluid is a working medium. Okay. Then power to weight ratio for mechanical system is very poor, where in case of electrical system it is fair, but power to weight ratio for pneumatic system is the best one, and hydraulic system also it is very good. So that what exactly it means, that power to weight ratio will give you a better a light and powerful system. Okay. So as you can see that the power to weight ratio is very good for pneumatic and hydraulic. We will get a best output as a power as compared to the weight of the system. Okay. Same thing is with the torque to inertia ratio. For mechanical system we get poor torque, but in case of pneumatic and hydraulic system we get a better torque. This torque application, you can easily see that whatever the excavator machines which we see around us, okay, those require very great torque. Okay. Because they need to perform they need to perform the function which require very high torque. Okay, like agricultural application. So in those cases, mechanical systems are not preferred. In those cases, a pneumatic or hydraulic system is preferred, just because its torque to inertia ratio is very high. Okay. So that is why we will find the pneumatic and hydraulic systems in the agricultural application, which requires inherently very high torque. Then the stiffness for mechanical system is good. Okay. For electrical system the stiffness is very poor. For stiffness issue, pneumatic and hydraulic system is not better than the mechanical system. Then response time for mechanical system is around fair. Electrical system, the response time is best. Those are fastest, and pneumatic and hydraulic system are having a better response timing. Then dirt sensitivity. The mechanical systems are best wherever the dust and dirt or the corrosive environment is concerned. Electrical systems are also better in such kind of environment, but pneumatic and hydraulic system does not tolerate any kind of a contamination. That is why those are more dirt sensitive. Okay. The cost for mechanical system is cost wise, the mechanical systems are always very cheaper, but pneumatic and hydraulic system has a relatively high cost than mechanical systems. Then a control, then comes to control part. A mechanical system has a very fair control, and pneumatic and hydraulic system can be very good, can have a very good and precise control. So this is where this is why in very precise application you can instead of mechanical system in automatic machines we go for pneumatic or hydraulic systems, because they are having good control. Then motion type for mechanical systems, it is very mainly rotary. In case of pneumatic we can have a linear or rotary motion. Okay. Like in mechanical system we mainly get a power output in the rotary form in case of output shaft, but in pneumatic and hydraulic cylinders we can use a linear actuator or pneumatic actuator, linear actuator or rotary actuator to get the output. So because of that, we can find that pneumatic and hydraulic system offers a wide range of power applications. Then there are some color codings. Whenever you visit any fluid power line, a red line means operating pressure, that is a high pressure line. Blue lines are for exhaust. Intake lines are usually green in color, and wherever the flow is metered, that means controlled flow, you will get yellow lines. Okay, so this is how the lines are actually color coded in the system, so in order to identify the pressure, so the operator can take appropriate care while being in the vicinity of that line. So let us consider one application in a car service station. If you want to lift the car, okay, then you know the weight of the car, you know the size of the piston, then you need to find out what is the pressure which is required to lift that car. Okay, so in this numerical you can see that the size of the cylinder is 250 mm. The weight of the vehicle is around 13 kilonewton. Okay, so solution, we need to find out that how much pressure is developed in the soil. So pressure is nothing but force upon area. So we know the force that is given around 13 kilonewton divided by the area of the cylinder. So this will give us the pressure in the kilopascal. Okay, so 250 mm diameter is the diameter for that cylinder. So if you divide that simply, you will get the pressure in the kilopascal. So this is all for this lecture. Then we will consider in third lecture we will start with the